What's up, everybody? Welcome back to GSA. Next up, we've got a Super Mario Odyssey any percent league race between Fur and SuisaigaW. I'm Kerbis54. Joining me on commentary today for this match is Bad Baronis. Bad Baronis, how you doing?
I am doing great, and it's been a little while since I commentated some Odyssey, but I'm glad to be back in the new Mario booth, seeing these nice, bright, amazing graphics in the new generation. So excited to bring this one to you guys live. Fur vs. SuisaigaW, definitely going to be an interesting match, and I'm ready for it.
Yes, and we are getting deep into these leagues now. It's good to see. We're in the thick of it, as some might say. And I think these runners are kind of getting accustomed, getting comfortable, and I just love these leagues because they're all such high-profile, high-level matches. So I'm excited for this race.
In a tournament with like 32 people, you get like plenty of them still, but it's like, oh, you got Fur vs. Sui, oh, but then you got like, what is it, Equan vs. Strav next up, and it's just like one after another after another. There's no filler.
High quality
It's
matches
all
never
hype.
end. That's for sure.
And we are about to get the countdown from Cheese. No, okay, not yet. Alright, Fur just had to give the ready up, and we're about to get started. So in this league so far, Sui actually has not been doing super hot. He's lost to, to be honest, he's only played Curbs and Nitro, so probably like top 5 players. But at the same time, he did go 0-2. But Fur, I think he might want to take a win here. This would be a solid dub as well. Fur, a solid player in his own right. But I think someone like Sui has a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing about SMO in particular for these leagues is when you say top 5 runner, that can literally change week to week. And it does. The entire basically top 10, top 12, which is, the people in this league, they're pretty much all capable of world record.
Yeah.
Or very close to it.
And we saw Curbs jump like all the way up to second place, like with an absolutely nutty run.
Yeah, there have been a number of instances where you've seen people leapfrog, 5 or 6 people in the top 10 with one run. So
oh yeah,
it's all close. It's always hard to predict the winners, but that makes it exciting. So it's like we are actually underway now as they lift off the ground in cap. We're gonna get going.
Yeah, he hit the ground rolling in this case, so to speak.
Literally.
And cap should be pretty much tied, unless we see some flip-ups happen toward the end. But right now we're just kind of rolling along. And I don't know. I've been kind of thinking about this one since it's been on the docket today. I was like, Fur, it goes for like a couple unique strats. Do you think he'll go for them all in the race, like stuff like Cloud Boost? Is that just something that's his bread and butter now, and he's not afraid of it? Or do you think he'll just stick with the normal stuff?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's a combination of a couple things. One, obviously how comfortable they are with any given trick, and two, how risky they feel like playing in a race setting. I'd say I'm not too sure. I feel like every runner will kind of have their own little flavor, and that's something that we'll probably catch on to as this league develops. As we get further in, we'll know, Fur likes to go for such and such.
Fur missing left side. Oh wait, he backed it up. But
yeah, it's a pretty clean backup there. As long as you don't bonk, you can back that up and only lose a couple seconds. So not too bad there. But definitely unfortunate to the left side. That is still like to this day, one of the toughest tricks in this run, or like one of the toughest jumps that you can do.
Yeah.
So definitely not the end of the world to miss it, but I guess you never want to start off your run like that. But yeah, he's only a couple seconds behind.
I could actually somewhat tell by the way he started his triple jump. It seemed just a tad low, and I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it over the fence.
Yeah,
but in this case, it's only going to cost him a couple seconds, which will probably see go back and forth over the course of Cascade and Sand Kingdom.
Yeah, definitely. Just any kind of little slip up trying to go for first moon skip here could easily shift the lead back. So we'll see how they both approach.
He's playing with some really tight angles. Oh no!
See, just like I said right there.
Just like you said.
Messing up the wall jump, and they're pretty much in sync now. SuisaigaW looking to be just ever so slightly behind after that missed wall jump.
And the second slip up from SuisaigaW, a really uncharacteristically sloppy Cascade, and Fur is going to be the first one with the Dino and coming up to the Mountain Brutal fight. So kind of crazy, SuisaigaW, you know, missing a piece of moon, which he's probably done 1,000 times.
Yeah, I would say Cascade in particular is probably like the most consistent kingdom in the run. There's nothing too crazy that goes on here, especially with this like FMS setup that they use now. The old FMS setup was like really finicky, but ever since the water FMS has become a thing, Cascade is probably the most consistent kingdom in the run. But yeah, definitely some uncharacteristic slip-ups around this time around for SuisaigaW, but nothing too damaging. He's still only a handful of seconds behind into grabbing this multi-moon.
Yep, Fur and SuisaigaW not off to a perfect start, but you know, nothing really too terribly went wrong unless you did miss FMS. But it's like Sui did, but like he was able to actually just get on the rebound almost.
Yeah, I think that's something that any of these runners will be pretty good at backing up at this point. Like a missed wall jump on FMS. Much like missing left side cap that you saw Fur back up, you know, these are two things that probably happen quite often at the beginning of the run when you do so many attempts that you just know how to back them up at this point pretty cleanly. So now they're going to come up on the chest moon, see if they can both get the clip. That can be another little thing that can set you back a couple seconds in Cascade Kingdom. Fur got it just fine. And looks like Suis should be good as well. Yes, he is.
Yep. And a good finish at least to make up for his mistakes earlier, but first still with about a 5-second lead. In the Sand Kingdom, do you think like both runners go for like a double clip?
I'm not too sure. I would say I think most of them, like in normal runs, would go for double clip at this point, most of the top runners, but it is very different in a race setting, especially with any roll cancel clip can just be really finicky. Even the easiest ones can give you trouble from time to time, so they might elect to take the 1 second loss or whatever it is in a race setting and just go for the clip one time.
For not getting a good action guide. Or wait, that's what happened, right?
Yes.
Sweet as well, not getting it.
And I say it every time, but Sand Kingdom is really where things start to get tricky. I feel like every little bit of movement in here, it's easy to lose time on. So it's the first kingdom where it's kind of easy to bleed time. So
yeah,
we'll see coming out of Sand Kingdom is what I would say like the first time you can actually assess who has the lead properly.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like people like Equan have like pretty much made their name off of having insane Sand Kingdoms all the time, or at least resetting when it's not. But in a race, you got one shot, and you got to make it happen. For and SuisaigaW, you know, getting the initial moons not too difficult. I'm finding the top of this dune. Right on the money. So no missed spin pounds there. We're seeing some nice movement up to this archway moon, and then just a couple moons later we're heading into Dram, which is something that runners have actually messed up, at least from what I've commentated. It happens sometimes. It's not frequent, but occasional.
Definitely. But yeah, this is something that is very easy to be so slightly off and just miss the whole thing. That will happen. Sometimes that platform can even get in the way. But yeah, I think that's actually what happened.
Missed it.
I think that's what happened. That platform got in the way for him there. And,
Wow. And missing the
actually,
backup up throw.
yeah, struggling a little bit here, but
Oh,
does finally capture the bullet bill. It looked like Fur got the box moon and Suisaiga elected to skip it. It
okay.
actually is slightly faster to skip the box moon and get the notes at the end of Sand Kingdom. So Suisaiga opting for a slightly faster option, but it does look like they are virtually tied, but Suisaiga is behind right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, Sphinx Flip coming up. Fur and Suisaiga, first try in sync. It's pretty fun.
So yeah, whether that was intentional or not, it looked intentional for both of them that they went straight into the Sphinx vault, so they're both going to be going for double clip here. Both very comfortable in their clipping abilities.
Ooh, Fur not getting hit. Wow, we're almost seeing a mirror image on both sides, even if they're just like a little bit apart.
Yeah, it looks like they both got it first try for the first clip and then second try for the second clip, so playing pretty evenly here, but again, Suisaiga is one moon behind right now. He'll be making up for that at the end of the kingdom.
Fur and Suisaiga just kind of back in the autopilot mode. Come up to Jaxi. Or Jaxi skip. So 4 moons left for 5 left for Suisaiga. Very clean from both runners. We'll see how many coins they can come up with out of this chest, because you need 200 over the course of the run. I'm pretty sure everyone knows it at this point. But Fur's already up to 199. So, yeah, not gonna have to worry about coins.
With the Sphinx in the route, coins is really a non-issue, thankfully.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're both going to have pretty decent bird cycles here with getting the second try Sphinx clip after coming out of the load zone, so no troubles here.
So is it actually faster to warp back to the Odyssey at that point, unless you're going for notes?
Yeah, the notes are kind of like right on that borderline. Like if you go for the notes, then it's faster to roll back, but if you are on the other side of the Oasis, it winds up being faster to warp. So yeah, that is the moon.
Let's see, that was such a good notes from Suisaiga. Like, the spin throws were right on.
Yeah, if you can actually do it with one spin throw if you're perfect, but it's pretty tough to make that work. So pretty fast nonetheless, but with him having a little bit of a sand route there, that is different Furs. Setback, so probably like 20 seconds or so behind based on that. Yeah, that's Sand Kingdom for you. It's kind of, I feel like it always separates people, and if both runners have really good sands, that's how you know you're in for an insanely close race, most likely.
Yeah. Weird Six in the chat, why didn't Fur do notes? He got a moon in a box that he broke after doing Dram. I guess because notes saves about like a second or so, and if you mess it up a bit, then it's not really worthwhile, where the box is like really easy.
Yeah, exactly. Now we'll see the runners decide to go for late clip here. It's really the only notably interesting, difficult thing in this kingdom. Before late clip, this was definitely, along with Cascade, one of the more consistent kingdoms in the run. But yeah,
First
looks like
one for that's a. Oh, I thought he had a really fast setup. He's taking some time to line it up now, losing a lot of that possible time save.
Yeah, and unfortunately getting the fake clip
side.
there. Yes, so Suisaiga has effectively caught up to Fur here, just from late clip, and Fur finally making it through. It looks like he did grab the checkpoint.
Yeah, that cost him a lot of time, though.
Yeah, Suisaiga made up a lot of time there. They are almost back to even. And yes, he did grab the checkpoint, and Suisaiga did as well, so they're both safe in that regard. Yeah, that's the risks of late clip. It's another finicky one, but I know at this point a lot of these top runners are pretty comfortable with it for the most part. But it's just another one of those things. And Fur with the Joy-Con strats with the down throw, and Suisaiga as well.
So do you think Suisaiga just switches to Joy-Cons? Because I know people do that.
Yeah, I believe so.
For that specific moon.
I know Fur just runs on Joy-Cons all the time, but it is a feasible strat to hybrid your controller setup and use Pro Controller for everything, and then switch to Joy-Cons, because you can have them both connected at the same time, and they will both control Mario. So no time lost to switch for the down throw and then switch back realistically, if you know what you're doing.
So we'll have to see what the lead is coming out of Lake. Probably less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, I would say definitely. Probably less than 5 even, by the looks of it.
Yeah,
with
like
this
4.
Lake Clipper out, not even needing to fight Rango, just getting these quick moons and warping back to the Odyssey manually. And yeah, just a few seconds of a difference between the two. Going into Wooded, which is another pretty tough kingdom. Much like Sand, there's a lot that can go wrong to lose you a lot of time here.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of high-profile games where it's like 2 very elite runners going at it, and you don't know who's gonna win. They're really close, and then one of them misses nut clip, and then it's like the rest of the run is like an uphill battle. And sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
The point is that Wooded is so pivotal.
Yeah, and nut clip is just, it's not something that you can just not do for safety in a race. It just saves too much time. You have to go for it, and if you miss it, it can be really devastating if you aren't prepared to make a quick backup. A perfect backup would only lose like 10 seconds, but it's another clip for the backup that can be finicky. So
yeah,
hopefully they both get it.
I'm gonna say as well, I think Fur and Suisaiga both go for the tree with like before the nut clip, like the moon to skip the piranha.
Yeah, I know Fur does. Basically to skip the piranha, because that's a story moon that has a long cutscene associated with it. So optimally it's slightly faster to get the tree.
So Fur and Suisaiga doing some shopping with the robots, and Fur's already at 102 coins, so won't have to worry about them at all. Although Suisaiga at 88, probably won't have to go out of his way at all.
Yeah, no, he'll get an easy 12 points from the rest.
Looked pretty good by Fur, although I'm not really an expert, so I'll just leave that to you.
Upper movement is pretty simple, other than the one thing you want to look for is whether or not you get the fast running speed on capturing the uproot. So Fur looked like a good clip. Suisaiga should go through the wall as well. But oh no, he doesn't actually. He missed it. That's unfortunate. We'll see if he goes for the rock clip backup or if he just reverts to the old Wooded route. That actually did look like good timing from Suisaiga, so I'm not sure what happened there. Might have been ever so slightly late.
This is huge for Suisaiga. He's already down 0-2 in his league record, and first poised to take the commanding lead here in Wooded. And Suisaiga's got a lot of catching up to do.
Suisaiga's going for the old Wooded route rather than electing for the rock clip backup. So might not be super familiar with the rock clip because it was never really a thing that was used in runs. I think
it was always just a backup, yeah.
Yeah, the moon clip was found, I think, like very shortly, like within a couple days after the rock clip was found, after the rock clip route was made anyway. So not really a thing that people are used to doing unless they plan on using it for a backup. You know, most people will just reset from a missed nut clip. So yeah, he's gonna take the full 25-second or so time loss from doing the old Wooded route, but hopefully he is still able to execute that route cleanly enough to not lose any more time than he is by just doing the route.
Yeah, I forget what match this was, but someone actually missed nut clip and then actually went and got like one too many moons because they had gotten the tree.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. We'll see if Sui remembers that he actually does have even still an extra moon compared to the old route, and remembers to skip one.
So like, did he even need to get the piranha?
He does, because if you don't collect the piranha moon, then Spewert won't. The Spewert load zone won't be active. So unfortunately, you do still have to collect that piranha moon in this case. Otherwise, that would be definitely the slowest one that you would skip. Yeah, looks like I think he skipped the nut at the dead end because it looks like he's on pace to collect these 2 tower moons and then fight Speedrun for his last 3. So he should be good to go here.
Yep, for your skipping spirit, gonna come down, grab this 1 moon, then go into the flooded pipeway. And pretty clean wooded overall. I didn't notice anything. Did you happen to see something that he did well or did poorly?
Nothing too crazy here, pretty standard. He did... I think there was one point where he struggled a little bit by blanking on it. Yeah, he's gonna come into this pipe for the last 2 moons, and you're gonna kind of see the live comparison of these 2 routes because no super major mistakes from either runner outside of the miss nut clip. So you're gonna see a pretty accurate comparison here, I would say, how much the nut clip route saves.
Yeah, Taco Tingman saying the tower climb was a little sketch, but otherwise had a really good wooded. Definitely agree. I don't know the exact like kind of to the second time, but it was definitely good. Definitely saving a lot of time over SuisaigaW, who has to collect this multi-moon and then watch all the cutscenes.
Yeah, so keeping in
this
mind
really
that
long dance.
that Sui was already like 5 seconds or so behind coming into wooded, he's gonna look to lose probably close to 30 more here. So yeah, Fur gonna take a nice lead into Cloud and Lost. This is the kind of lead you want. I think with this, you can feel pretty comfortable as a top runner to maintain this kind of lead. It's kind of Fur's race to lose, I would say, but there's definitely plenty of points where he could lose 20 to 30 seconds in a single go. So definitely a close race still.
Yeah, you know, he might be out of the woods, but metaphorically, he's not out of the woods yet.
Oh, and he does get that cloud boost. Very nice. It's super fast. Very risky. So nice job to Fur there. Gonna position himself so he punches Bowser as far away as possible so he jumps only 1 circle over. Sweet's about to join him in Cloud Kingdom.
Yeah, Jimmy had asked in the chat, is it required to use motion control if you want to be seriously speedrunning this game? And I was talking to Kerbis and Cheese in the call. He was saying that like his mic picks up the shaking of the controller like a lot when he's playing, or at least if you're like,
you wind up shaking a lot in this game, and it unfortunately, if you want to have a competitive time, it is more or less required. You can get pretty good times without motion controls, but if you want to seriously compete, then you want to make use of them wherever possible, because they wind up being, you know, just a second or two faster here or there, but it adds up quite quickly.
Especially just rolling around, because the fastest form of like unobstructed land movement, so to speak, is just rolling, but only if you're shaking. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Difference.
It's just rolling. You can do much faster with motion controls, but pretty much
but
every
then you also
capture.
Got homing throws.
Yeah, homing throws. Any capture you use, like the uproot, like stretching the uproot as high as it can go, just motion controls does that much faster. Really anything.
Yeah. Just do it a little bit better or bigger or faster. Just shake the controller.
Yep, it's the...
I think we could get sub-hour if you just shook a little bit harder, you know?
Yeah, that's probably all it'll
Kappa.
take. Easy.
So for making good progress in Lost, where SuisaigaW's still a bit behind. But, you know, you definitely don't want to fall in the goop. Is there a name for it?
I'm not sure. I call the luncheon goop Pepto-Bismol, but I don't really have a name
This
for
is
the
like
Lost goop.
Poison C or something. Right, for setting up... Oh, but not getting the box break that he needed.
Yeah,
it's gonna cost him a few seconds here. You're gonna have to wait.
Not quite walking the trapedal here out far enough to get a good angle to hit that box with the moon in it, so gonna lose a bit of time there. It's still gonna take a healthy lead out of Lost, assuming he gets this cage triple, and he looks good. Yep. Alright,
so SuisaigaW can make up a little bit of time here. Fur had an otherwise decent loss, able to make it out alive.
Oh,
Nope. Okay.
Bonk. That's
Spoke
also
too
not the
soon.
end of the world, but you know, another couple
Yeah.
seconds of time lost because he did do all the movement to try to get back on top of the bridge and then died anyway. So gonna take a couple more seconds of time loss there that SuisaigaW can use to his advantage.
Let's see if SuisaigaW can close out the rest of the loss. Getting a good cage triple and only needs this one under the bridge. Well, there we go. Oh,
the up
wait.
throw strat there, but he does make it up,
Okay.
so a little faster than what Fur was able to do. SuisaigaW making up a little bit of time in Lost Kingdom there. That's, you know, just chipping away at that lead. If he manages to do that, Fur just makes a couple smaller mistakes, then we'll be right back to even. So, you know, like I said, it's still very much a close race. It's up to Fur to
What are
maintain
your...
that lead.
Yeah, definitely is up to Fur. And in Metro, there's a few... Well, there's a couple big time losses, if you think of Mech and Scoot Clip. Maybe not Scoot Clip as much, but Metro is all about the little things. It's a really long kingdom. So, oh no, that's a big thing though. You know, for kind of proving my point, but also not really. He's going to be losing quite a bit of time. And also not getting good movement here. This is really bad. SuisaigaW is catching up a lot here in Night Metro.
Yeah, definitely a really sloppy start to Night Metro for Fur. Hopefully he can reel it together and not translate it into a 3-cycle Wiggler, because that is the whammy of Metro Kingdom. That's the thing that can easily lose you 20 to 30 seconds of time.
Also not that clean of a roll cancel into the building, although that wasn't as big of a mistake. So Fur in City Hall, where SuisaigaW is on his way, heading up this electric wire. So just like that, he's only about 15 seconds ahead, maybe a bit more actually, but
yeah, definitely closing the gap here.
So that long jump looked a bit close, but he had it.
Yeah, it's really tight to long jump from that spot, but finished with plenty of space. Looks like, yeah, somewhere between like a 15 to 20 second lead still for Fur. But like I said, that can easily be equalized in this Wiggler fight. So we're going to be looking for the 2 cycles here.
Yeah, Fur and Sui in the mech fight. Just kind of watching the charges, Mech Wiggler running around. SuisaigaW able to take care of the first phase. What's your opinion on sub-splits? You know, in the last month or so, you kind of see them take over with a lot of top runners, but a lot of people like just having the simple splits for each kingdom. What boat are you in?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a mentality choice, you know, from person to person, just depending on how you approach the game. Personally, I always like to have splits between like 4 and 7 minutes, regardless of what category I'm running. I think that's a really good time frame. And Fur does have a clean 2-cycle there, so it's done. But yeah, I know a lot of runners, I think they're using it sort of as a way to isolate their common time losses better, which definitely makes sense.
Catch his head. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So pretty clean from SuisaigaW as well. I think they both got all their shots off before the Wiggler stopped roaming around, so pretty clean. No risks of 3 cycles there. But yeah, I think with how optimized this category has become, it's definitely not a bad idea to have some shorter splits to figure out where you're losing time more commonly and remedy those mistakes.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I'm actually kind of in the same boat as you, where I think a split should kind of test your short-term consistency. Whereas if you want to split for every like 10 seconds of the run, it's completely unrealistic to do that in any given race. But if you have like a medium-length segment, it's a better representation of your potential in the run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
First enough for the Scoot Clip, having to rub on the cage first try.
Yeah, just a little bit of safety there. Not quite the fast drive-by, but first try, still pretty good. I think Scoot Clip is one of those things that becomes really annoying to back up. Suisaiga going for the straight drive-by and gets it, so gonna shave off another second or so there. He is fighting his way back in this race.
Yeah, both of them having a couple little capture troubles for not grabbing the little pole. Or SuisaigaW did not grab the moon first try when he got out of the trash pile. But Fur's already halfway done.
And all of these light posts can get in your way very easily, so Fur avoided them pretty much for the most part without having to slow down. The annoying thing about them is it completely cuts your momentum that you get from that pole fling. So that spot in particular, I think, is the most annoying place to accidentally cling onto a light post or anything. Just rub up against anything like that taxi, you see it completely cuts SuisaigaW's momentum. Just the slightest nudge will do that. So that's like the biggest reason Metro can be really annoying, in my opinion.
There's a lot of foot traffic and car traffic and all sorts of other stuff that's going to get in your way here. But for kind of out in the middle of nowhere talking to these musicians, just hanging out in the park, SuisaigaW about to join them. So for grabbing that story moon, gonna have to leave City Hall here. Like, the way the routes evolved is kind of like, alright, you want to reduce the amount of story moons you have to watch. You also don't want to have to spend, like, time going, like, back and forth to City Hall and all that, so it just kind of shows how the game's progressed. You know, I don't think we'll be seeing the bullet building thing anytime soon, because how you get over to that island is really difficult. You have to, like, vector a jump out of the pole.
Yeah,
like, really well.
It's something that people will need to start doing when those seconds become more precious, more desperate. But yeah, the thing about Metro is it's really kind of awkward to route sometimes, because upon the first visit, there's a lot of the moons are within sub areas or story moons. Because I think Metro has the most story moons out of any kingdom in this game. And then, like, a lot of the other moons you have to go through loading zones to get to, so there's not like a ton of out in the open moons that you can get. And then on top of that, like, Metro Kingdom is also the kingdom that requires the most moons to leave. So
yeah,
like, you see this room first, and just like stuff like this is basically required just because of how the moons are. Kingdom.
Yeah, like, this is the best we can make do with, even though it's probably, like, not that fast if you consider all the moons in the game. Like, otherwise, like, you know, you're not gonna, like, go underground, you're not gonna go do, like, 20 side rooms, so you take what you can get. SuisaigaW here wrapping up Metro Kingdom as well. Not too bad. I think he saved a bit of time overall, but Fur didn't make any big mistakes in the day section.
Yeah, looks like more or less a similar time difference that they had coming out of the Wiggler fight.
So both of them have made a... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say similar, still in that like 15 to 20 second time difference range that we're looking at. And Snow Kingdom is going to be another one that can kind of lose you a big chunk of time. Mostly just for the painting jump at the end of the kingdom. But there is a few other things that can happen here. Lose you little 5 to 10 second chunks.
Yeah, Snow hits pretty hard in terms of technical movement, in terms of tricks that, you know, you gotta do fast or, you know, are very precise, like Snow Jam. It's kind of funny because in Mario 64, the snow levels aren't too bad usually, but here there's some pretty difficult sections, and even things like the Bloody Joy room can be kind of tough to do optimally.
Yeah, I think Snow is just one of those kingdoms that it's kind of a sleeper as far as time loss goes.
We're actually bonked into the rim of the entry of Shiveria. He like rolled into it. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, there's like a little lip around it that you bonk into if you don't get your roll cancel properly off that ledge. Fur going for the wall jump on the side there. I know if you try, you can wall jump off of the bridge as well, but there's like little pieces of the bridge that will just knock you back down to the ground, so it's kind of annoying. So probably going for that side wall jump to avoid such a thing happening.
You might see Suisaiga go for the clip here on the moon that Fur just got.
Yeah, he is going for it.
Yeah, he is.
Looks like he might have gotten it. Yeah, he did. So nicely done.
Right.
That is something that is very useful for longer categories of this game, but here it only saves you maybe a couple seconds at most. Oh, and Sui's gonna mess up the fast cycle.
He missed the early cycle.
Yeah, much like you were
lost
talking
more
about.
time than the clip saved him.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
the clip only saved like 1 to 2.
Yeah, it's like 1 to 2 seconds. Just lets you get through that wall a little quicker rather than dropping down and around. But yeah, he's gonna have to wait for that Blowy Joey cycle.
So Fur is already done with the Blowy Joey room. Wait, did he mess up? Because I feel like the way Suisaiga messed up in the Blowy Joey room, he should have lost a bit of time. Maybe not. Fur here entering.
Yeah, probably only a few seconds, and he did get the clip to alleviate that a little bit, so not losing too much time there to Fur.
Okay, so this very slippery side room where Fur is in, Suisaiga is now entering. And this kind of jump at the end, Fur going for the triple jump. You can actually get it without a second cap though here, which Fur will do. Pretty fancy. I believe Suisaiga goes for it also. So now we only have the Shop Moon and Snow Jam, and both of them have plenty of coins, nothing to worry about in that department. Suisaiga, really nice on that final movement to the moon. But we have Snow Gem coming up, and if Fur misses it, he'd probably be behind.
Yeah, I think he could miss it once, and it would make the race close, probably close to even. But definitely doesn't want to be losing all of his time. One trick. We'll see how this goes for him. This is just another jump that every piece of it is just very precise. So if you're slightly off on your timing of any of your button presses, essentially, or the way you're vectoring, then you are going to miss this jump. But Fur gets it nicely, first try. Let's see if Suisaiga can follow suit.
Yeah, Fur rocking Snow Kingdom Sui, setting up a little bit faster than Fur did actually, going for the actual vault. And he's got it.
Yeah, he cleared it with much more distance as well. So very, very nice jump from Sui there.
Yeah, Fur's angle was like a bit like less than perpendicular. It could have been pretty close to a bonk. And so Snow Kingdom is done, and now we got Seaside, a bit less stressful, but
yeah,
it's not like a given that you'll do it perfectly. And then you got Luncheon, the big L, and the run only kind of just comes to like a full steam ahead right in Luncheon. You got Bowser's after that, not much breathing room outside of Ruined Kingdom.
Yeah, I'd say other than Ruined Kingdom, Seaside is probably by far the easiest, most consistent kingdom of the second half of the run. But there's still stuff that can mess you up here. Namely the Rocket Flower Refresh trick. Use some time if you don't.
I actually see a lot of people bonking to go up to that first moon, trying to cut everything really tight.
Yeah, it's not a terribly hard jump to make. It's just with trying to cut corners closely as much as possible. People wind up bonking for that reason, I think.
Yeah. We're coming up on the Rocket Flower. Suisaiga probably only... Well, actually, he has to get this moon in the side room. Gets it fine. We're going for that Rocket Flower refresh after he grabs the Note Moon. And he does.
So these are not missed inputs. He's doing that spin throws and ground pounds on purpose because it refreshes the amount of time that you have the rocket flower for, and lets you avoid capturing the Gushin to travel over here.
The rest of the seaside is pretty straightforward, just some cheap swimming, and the movement, you can lose maybe like a little bit of time passively, but nothing really big should go wrong for someone at first level.
Yeah, the water movement, pretty trivial. As long as you're not bonking into walls constantly, then you're going to play this part pretty similarly every time. The other thing you really just want to avoid is taking damage on these seaweed guys. You don't want to be losing your 2.5 seconds damage refills.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, 1 moon left. Oh, 2 moons, sorry. Got the seaweeds and then the kind of hidden area. The Sui is 2 moons behind, but they're fast moons. And Fur grabbing the last one. So I think this race can still be pretty close. Fur is maybe a little bit comfortable right now, but can't really relax.
Yeah, like you said, coming up on really some of the toughest kingdoms of the run at the end here. So definitely not going to be too comfortable. So going to have to play well to maintain his lead here.
So when you're doing, wait, do you do mostly darker side, or do you do some any percent as well?
Yeah, mostly darker side these days for me.
Okay. Well, in your opinion, I'm just gonna ask anyway, I guess. What do you think is like the hardest part about Luncheon? Is it anything in particular, or like a certain sequence of movement?
Luncheon, not really. Luncheon is just, it's very easy to, like, all the surfaces are so weird. You just interact with them in weird ways compared to the rest of the kingdoms. It's super easy to lose time pretty much everywhere. Every little piece of Luncheon just feels awkward. So it's definitely
Fair enough.
you just kind of bleed time. You don't really lose like 20 seconds, 30 seconds to any one significant thing. Even like the one quote-unquote trick in this kingdom, like the turnip clip, it's not terribly difficult. I don't really see people lose more than 5 seconds or so to it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely just a bleeding time loss kingdom in general.
Yeah, both runners will try to avoid any dripping seconds. And for taking care of Spirit, if you actually take damage, you can grab a heart, so you don't have to like wait for the cutscene to refill it. So not really much to worry about.
Yeah, definitely one of the easier fights regardless. So don't see too many mishaps here.
Okay, now we're gonna get into some spicy movement action. If that salt pile tripton wasn't enough, there's just a quick side room here. And we're gonna get all sorts of crazy stuff later on. So, oh, I meant to keep track of the lead after Spirit. That was I was gonna do that, but I didn't. Maybe see when Fur leaves this side room. Oh, a bonk though. That's gonna cost him like 2 seconds. 41-14 exit.
Thankfully, that bonk didn't stun him for long enough to affect the platform cycle, dropping down and bringing him into the Pepto-Bismol. So not losing too much time.
Yeah. Exactly 15 seconds apart at this point in the run. So about 20 minutes left, maybe a bit more than 20.
Or with the nice wall jump into hat throw, diving onto the ceiling, homing in his hat onto the box. Position himself right underneath that moon as it spawns. Picking up the wrong turnip there. Those turnips like to get in the way of each other.
Not going for the bonk either. Although it's not like much different at all. Saiga taking the Glod turnip. And also not bonking.
Yes, just shaving off those small bits of time from grabbing the correct turnip right away. Pushing ever closer to Fur here.
Yeah, so he's kind of on his tail right now. Not really biting at it, but close enough to be a threat. Fur in the Forks room, going really fast too. Lots of homing throws.
And you see him diving after
solid.
he throws his cap. That's to put himself closer to the capture, so that he has to warp in the air a little bit less. But in this room, that tactic can be kind of risky, because if your cap doesn't home in on the fort correctly, then you're just going to dive to your death.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're not going for the dives, you can kind of back it up and only lose a couple seconds. But they both made it through nicely, fortunately. Now they'll both come up on the turnip clip.
Yep, doesn't really matter which turnip you use here, unlike for the stew pot.
Oh, and Fur's gonna lose his turnip.
Oh my god, this is huge!
So he's gonna do this the old-fashioned way with
yeah,
breaking open the cheese rocks, which these pans flying in the air are basically random. So
that's crazy. First turnip got popped in the Pepto-Bismol, and now he's got the chance to take the lead here.
Yeah,
that spot looks pretty good as well.
He's they're pretty much tied
barely
now.
in the lead, they're synced.
Yep.
Oh my god, we've got a race. And would you believe it? That's how it happened.
Much like you saw the live comparison of how much Nut Clip and Wooded saves, you kind of got your live comparison of how much Turnip Clip saves right there, because that closed the entire 15-second gap, essentially. Single-handedly. So Suisaiga actually with a slight lead now.
Wow, it's all about Le Turnip.
So yeah, Fur just kind of misjudging his jump there and kind of landed in the lava, in the Pepto-Bismol while he was holding the turnip and despawned it. So definitely a really unfortunate mistake. And yeah, he's gonna now face a deficit. Suisaiga with the lead going into the last couple kingdoms of the game, but obviously mere seconds separating these two. So you guys now have your exciting race.
Here we go. And it's what you wanted all along. You know, maybe you're rooting for Fur, maybe you're rooting for Suisaiga, but surely this is the way you want it to be right now. Like 3 seconds apart, leaving lunch and entering the end game here. I mean, maybe a bit better if you just didn't have to watch Ruin, because I don't think anything will really happen, but you could see the lead shift by like 2 seconds. Probably not gonna actually change who's in the lead. And then we got Bowser's and Moon.
Yeah,
so right now Suisaiga is barely ahead. And Fur's probably kicking himself. He's got a
kingdom that they're not going to lose any like significant portions of time to one trick, but are kind of proving me a little bit wrong there. That's like worst case scenario in Luncheon on any like single trick. Like you're not going to lose much more time than he lost from any one thing. It's just going to add up from little things outside of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, while we're moving into Ruined with the sync, I know it's very exciting, very hot race going on, but nothing too crazy going on in Ruined, so we're just going to remind you guys in the chat that the grand finals of this league and the other Celeste and SM64 Division 1 70-star leagues will be taking place at a live event, Haste, happening over 4 days, April 25th to 28th. So yeah, if you want to see the finals of these leagues live in person, go ahead and do !tickets in the chat, and you'll be taken to the page with more information on how to attend.
Yeah, I will be there. I think Curbs is going to be there. I'm so excited. This is like what I've, almost like, I was so excited when I first heard about this. It was like even before it was announced formally. Like, it was like the kind of thing where it's like the what if, and now it's a reality, and it's going to be such a huge step forward. I can only hope that everything will be amazing. and GSA will hopefully do a great job because they've been doing great stuff so far. So if you want to be here in person, definitely check that out.
Yeah, and I did have the opportunity to go check out the venue when I was at AGDQ. Took a little trip over to the Smash local, and it's a pretty cool spot. I think it's going to be a really great space for the event, so that just got me even more excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, very exciting. Hope to see as many of you there as possible.
Fur and SuisaigaW both on the last phase of the Ruin boss. And there you have it. Ruin is just Ruin.
So yeah, pretty standard there. You're just going to see SuisaigaW leaving with pretty similar lead as he came in with. And we'll get to the spicy Bowser's Kingdom. This is where the chokes happen, I think, for the most part. If you can say you can choke any part of the run, it almost always happens in Bowser's.
Yeah, we're not even like Bowser's itself is tough, and then you got Mech. So all these big hurdles to overcome, and it's only a 3-second lead for SuisaigaW. So not even anything like worth noting almost. It's just whoever's gonna play better from here on out. Did I mention there's an event called Pace while we're waiting for this is the cutscene so long, it's like, alright, just get on with it already, please. I'm excited. Come on.
Yeah, as far as gameplay goes, that's just like an entire 4-minute stretch that is just entirely uneventful.
I mean, at least there's gameplay going on, but when I'm just watching the cutscene, I'm like, I was like racking my brain. It's like, is there anything? Like, I just want to get to Bowser's, come on. And now we're here.
We are here.
Commentator, very impatient. You know, it's coming eventually. You know, like if you watch a movie trailer, you know, just watch the movie. I don't know. Never mind.
So both
For
runners
SuisaigaW off to a decent start.
Yeah, they're both gonna elect to go for the Great Moon later on for one of their extra moons as opposed to behind the big wall. It's pretty much a runner's choice between those two moons. Pretty similar in speed.
Yeah, Fur and SuisaigaW pretty much just gonna be tit for tat here. Wait for these platforms to extend.
Yeah, I think in general Bowser's would have been a much more interesting and much scarier kingdom if these story moons weren't forced. Because if you could just jump over these walls and across all of these big gaps instead, that would up the difficulty factor by a ton. And SuisaigaW with the dive back on the shard, but he got it second try, so he's actually lost most of his couple seconds lead, or almost synced back up. So that's kind of showing you what Bowser's can do. Every little section can easily lose you 2 seconds here, 2 seconds there. Yeah, looks like maybe a second difference, if even.
There we go. 51 minutes in, and it's just going to be these tiny little things that one runner can do. They're like running neck and neck. Who's going to get like their hand out in front, pretty much. Trying to body each other out of the way so they can get the glory and the dub. Both grabbing this moon up here on the side of the ceiling kind of architecture.
Yeah,
I don't know how they,
got that
like
nice
the developers expected you to see this casually. Like, it's just kind of hidden. It's tucked away.
Right. Both going for Harriet first, just breaking my heart.
You know, it seems like Limcube is like big on Harriet first, and like usually if we kind of test the crowd, as in chat, you know, they usually like Harriet, but you know, a lot of commentators are going for Topper.
I mean, it's the optimal way to go.
I actually don't even know where I stand, really. I think Topper's cool. But maybe you save the best for last. I don't know.
See, I always say there's a category in this game called All Moons in a Post Game, which you collect every moon available before beating Bowser's Moon Kingdom. And in that category, it actually does matter which one you do first. It's actually optimal to do Topper first. Since that category is so good, you know, I just have to do Topper first in every category. It just seems like the way to go.
It's good logic. I didn't even know that was a category, although like it makes sense that it would be, but I didn't know anyone actually ran it.
It's not very popular. I wish more people would run it, so if that sounds like a cool category to you, then I think most people just don't know it exists. Because it is a miscellaneous category on the leaderboard, so it's kind of tucked away.
Okay. How long would it be? Like maybe an hour and a half? A little bit longer?
No, it's
or
very
longer,
long.
2.5?
It's like 4 hours.
It's longer than Darker Side, really?
Yeah. Because there's 462 moons that you collect in that category. So it's a bit less moon-wise than Darker Side, but there's a lot of slow moons that you have to get.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was really underestimating like how many moons are like available before you beat the game.
Yeah, it's quite a few. It's roughly half. So like the moon rocks basically unlock half the moons in the game. The 880 total. So yeah, it's a pretty long category. That's probably another reason why it's not ran very often. But you get to do a lot of cool stuff in it that you wouldn't see in any other moderately short category.
So Sui and Fur grabbing the Tokyo, heading up for the mech fight. And Sui's got a little bit of a lead still, but not much. It's like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like he stretched that lead out just ever so slightly from the brutal fights up until now. But this is the big one. Any slip up here will certainly change the lead.
And here comes Suisaiga for the climb, coming up on the left leg of the mech, but he's falling down. He's gonna have to wait for the... Oh, he's not waiting for the Pokyo to drop. He's just gonna kind of climb up the leg again. But Fur's already on top here. He's got the first hit. Going for a topper now. Oh no, but he's fallen as well. They're both tripping up on the mech. Suisaiga has the opportunity to reclaim the lead despite his mistakes here. Fur is gonna have to wait for this Pokyo to come back. Really nice optimal grab though, but it's not gonna be enough at this point. Really struggling here. Suisaiga letting the mech run around, but Fur is really in trouble.
Yeah, so they both messed up in this fight, but they thankfully both had pretty clean backups for whatever phase they were on. It just so happens that Suisaiga messed up on the phase that is faster to back up, so he's gonna come out of this fight on top, growing his lead a bit here. Yeah, that's
kind of nuts.
That's huge, because it's a big enough lead now where Suisaiga could feel pretty comfortable executing a generally safe Moon Kingdom, probably come out on top, but there is a couple things that he could trip up on, notably Moon Skip, or just having a really bad Pillars room could lose him the time that he is ahead. So yeah, the Robo proving it's, you know, it's not easy.
So there we go, 10-second lead for Suisaiga going into Moon Kingdom. You would have thought from the way he failed to climb that Fur would have been able to swing back into the lead, but making a slightly larger mistake is actually going to cost him a substantial amount of time here. And Suisaiga, like you said, has the opportunity to just play his own game and not really worry about what Fur is able to pull off, because he's going to have to make mistakes for Fur to win.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing is just making sure he executes a clean Moon Skip, not trying to rush it too much. Because I feel like it's an easy enough trick that top level runners, they mostly only mess it up when they're trying to go too fast for their own good. If he just focuses on it and plays it safe, he should be able to get past it cleanly, but you never know. High stakes here in this league format. Nerves are a factor, always.
I was saying, like, this is a huge match for Suisaiga to win because an opponent that he's generally favored to beat, although first no pushover, Suisaiga really needs to get a win in the league. He's down 0-2, trying to put himself a bit farther up the standings here with a win over Fur. But if Fur were to take it, that'd be a really big opponent that he could get a win over and be up 2-1 in the league.
Yeah, definitely would be a solid win for either runner. Swede definitely looking to get on the board here. Fur with
vectoring from Fur.
Yeah, a bit of a weird vector, landing a little further away than he would have liked. See Suisaiga coming up on Moonskip now. Gets the cat bounce, looks to have wall jumped off good spot, and yes he has, so assuming no dives to his death here, he should be good to go. Yep.
Oh wait, did Fur fall?
Yeah.
What happened to Fur? Oh my god.
Probably trying to, kind of like I said, probably trying to rush himself a little too much, and unfortunately takes a tumble, and that is a pretty big time loss because there's no like checkpoints or anything that you grab. Yeah, that's probably the race right there. Swede, particularly now, can play this fight and escape sequence super safe and come out on top. But yeah, I would guess for maybe trying to move a little too fast there, knowing he is close but still behind. Just rushing, pushing the issue a little bit. Unfortunately, tumbling to his death.
It did come down to Moon. It was like the dwindling seconds of the game, or even overtime, however you want to construct the metaphor. But it just all fell apart, and now he's a big portion of this Bowser fight behind. And there's not much that he can really do about it. Suisaiga looking to win a good point spread as well. Don't forget Odyssey, because it's a best of one. Each race will have a point spread distributed at the end of the race depending on how big the lead is. So if Fur were to lose by 10 seconds, he'd get a lot of points. But if he misses, or if he loses by like 50, I guess. Like, I'm trying to think of like what lead would be now, if it's like around a minute. That's a pretty reasonable, or it's a respectable gain for Suisaiga here.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the extra
points. And if you're Fur, you don't want to give up.
So we'll see what kind of deficit Fur is facing here. Definitely will want to try to maximize his points, even though it's looking like it will be a loss for him.
Here goes Suisaiga entering the escape sequence. Wait, do you know how long it is exactly? Like, is this mid 102?
I know it's a bit less than a minute from start of the Pillars room. I'm not sure how long the entire sequence takes, but probably looking at a low 102, if I have to guess right now.
Alright. So we'll see what kind of times we can pull out. I'd say a 102 is pretty solid for the league. If it's a 101, that's pretty good. 103, you're really leaving yourself open to taking the L if your opponent has a solid race. So Suisaiga missing, or maybe it's just not choosing to go for 2D skip. If he's in the call, he's able to see the screen, so probably I can just kind of crawl to the finish here. But maybe costing himself a point or two in the process. But definitely don't want to die. 2D skip would be really ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think Fur looking to fight with this 50-second deficit or so to maximize his points in this race. I think that's going to be best case scenario for him at this point.
Okay. Yeah, so Econ come out with the info, and we can confirm, since he's entering the Pillar Room, a very low 102 possible. Probably can't 101, but Chad was saying about 2 minutes from the first capture of Bowser. The Fur going for 2D skip here. Able to get it, and Suisaiga wrapping up Pillars.
Yeah, looking to be a pretty clean Pillars so far. Did get the early Pillar, so just firing down this fourth one. Yeah, definitely looking to be a low 102, very low 102.
And Suisaiga, low 102 is the result, taking a dub. And we'll have to see if Fur can play within about a minute. He can probably be in like the 40-something second difference if he has a good pillar room. If not, looking at 50s.
Probably, yeah, probably looking at either somewhere between a 50-second and 1 minute deficit here, which will net him a good little chunk of points, but yeah, unfortunately,
And a
that
102.05. For kind of being framey for me, I would like to see what's going on, but it's kind of showing us the slideshow.
Yeah, we'll get the final time here whenever it occurs.
So 102.05, he missed Nut Clip and had to do the old wooded route. So pretty solid run altogether.
Yeah, definitely a low
From
102
SuisaigaW.
with no Nut Clip is a really solid run, especially in a race in the league with the pressure on. So yeah, looking like Fur is somewhere right around that 50-second range. Yeah, that'll probably need to be retimed for points. Potentially Fur sneaking in under that 50-second deficit, which would give him an extra point. Yeah, unfortunately the Moonskip doing him in at the end, he might have been able to make that work and overcome that couple second difference, but yeah, likely just trying to rush it a little bit too much. Maybe costing him the race there, but well played both runners, regardless.
Yeah, 102 still for Fur with that really costly Death and Moon, which would have actually been pretty close otherwise. Probably could have gone like a 102. Or you probably would have been like 10, 20 seconds off.
Yeah, I think getting a 102, getting any kind of 102 is definitely a respectable time in this league. Just so happens that SuisaigaW played extra well with the low 102, almost 101. Actually, I'm not sure. Do you happen to know what the best race time has been in this league so far? I think there has been a 101.
You mean a 100? I thought Chaos got like a 100-30 something, but that might have been like in the finals of like the big tournament that was going on in December.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. They all kind of blend together at this point. We've had a lot of tournaments, a lot of races of this game on GSA to this point, so.
Okay, Econ says it's a 101.19 by Stravos so far in the league, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And like obviously the league's pretty new. We're about in the 3rd week of competition, so I think we could see that go down, but for the moment, Stravos can be sitting pretty with that 101.19. Can't wait to see a 100 though. I think it'll happen at some point in the league here.
I think a 100 would be super tough, but I think it's definitely doable for at least a couple people. But yeah, that'd be a pretty insane race time.
Stravos giving his affirmation to the 69. Oh no. I don't think we have time for interviews because we got a bit behind schedule with the Celeste match. Fur unfortunately has to go take care of everything else that's going on.
Yeah, so...
You have anything else to say, Curvis?
No, I guess we're going to be coming back in about 15 minutes for another SMO Any Percent League race between Stravos and Ekwan. The two boys in the chat, they're locked and loaded, so stay tuned for that. And enjoy the rest of the night of speedrunning action. I'll see you guys later.
Sounds good. Bye.